Okay, now recording is on. Okay, Oma, you are speaking. Tell me. So, if I ask this very popular interview question, hey, what are the new language features that were introduced in JDK5? What do you say?
There are many features, and some of them, or I could say, one of them is reflections.
Ouch.
And, sorry, am I wrong?
Okay. Yeah, reflection was there from JDK1.
Oh, sorry. Maybe you said, oh, okay, what is that about then? Iteration. I
Iteration.
exactly don't know the,
Okay. I mean, you can tell
for
me
that.
one thing though.
So,
One thing you can say that, right? Enhanced for loop, right?
enhanced for loop, yeah, enhanced for loop, yeah.
Enhanced for loop annotations. Annotations were not there before, right?
Yeah.
Enhanced for loop annotations and auto boxing, auto
Boxing.
unboxing.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Generics, generics, like a list of. Earlier we used to say that it's a list. For JDK5, we just used to write like this, just list equal to new error list. Okay, we just used to say it, list of something. So list books equal to new error list. Right? This is how we used to write. There is no such thing called list of books. But now the interesting part here is that since we didn't say, obviously you can add anything here, right? You can add books, you can add anything, right? So the way Java people have dealt with this for each interface, either list or collection or anything, right? The way they dealt with is all the objects here, like add. So add take java.lang.object, meaning it can take any of the subclass too, meaning it can take any object, right? Books.add car1, books.add book2, book.add laptop2, right? So I'm adding a car object, I'm adding a book object, I'm adding a laptop object. I can add anything because add method takes java.lang.object. Any subclass can be passed, right? But when you iterate through this list, and then when you get it, if the first one is car, but if you try to typecast to, because your get method is also, it also returns java.lang.object. So it is your responsibility to typecast properly to the appropriate object. So if you don't know that particular type, you will get class cast exception. So here the most frustrating part is that there is no type. Hey, I wanted to add all the books into one basket. My compiler is not helping me in any way, but it is letting me add cars, laptops into book bag. That is very bad, right? So that is why they introduced this generics concept in JDK5, list of book. A new error list of book. Now, when you try to add car, you don't have to worry about this casting all of this at runtime. You don't need to. This guy will slap you. At compile time itself will tell you that, sorry boss, you can't add a car object into book bag. It can only take books. You can't add anything else. So your intention is very clear. You are right. So this is called generics, but this can be extended not only for collections. Actually, you can use generics on a day-to-day basis too. You can write your own. You can write your own generics too. Okay. So that's one thing about it.
I have a question here. Sometimes when we create a list, on the right side you say new array list, and within that angle brackets you say book, right?
Uh-huh.
So sometimes even if we don't give that book, it's not showing any error. So what is the significance?
Very, very good question. Very good question. Let me answer this one, okay? So the question, if everybody get it, like this. I think it's easy to get confused. So this is when they introduced generics in JDK 5, okay? This is how the syntax is. List of books equal to new array list of book. Okay. This is how they introduced it in JDK 5. This is how it was in JDK 6 also. But quickly we realized, I mean, every developer in the world realized that this is like a redundant. Here I'm specifying list of books. Obviously, your right-hand side, your implementation also is going to be off book only. Why do you need, why do you need this guy, right? So they carried that baggage for JDK 6 also, but in JDK 7, they fixed it. So in JDK 7, they introduced, I mean, there is no introduction. Actually, there is, they said that, hey, you don't need to specify this guy in JDK 7. All you do is new array list. That's it. In fact, they called it diamond operator. In JDK 7, they called it diamond operator. So fancy name for that. It looks like a diamond, right? So meaning you don't need to specify the actual type on the right hand side. You just specify on the left hand side. This is more than enough is the point. Did you get that? So if you have JDK 7, you don't need to. But the moment in your Eclipse you go and change your compiler settings and say that, hey, please compile it as JDK 6, not as JDK 7, then your compiler will immediately force you. It will tell you that, hey, you have to put the type on the right hand side also, because JDK 6 doesn't know that. But if you put JDK 7, it doesn't require you to do that. Okay, so if you look at it, so I can take out this type here. Okay, it's totally fine. But if I go to Window Preferences and then here type compiler, Java compiler settings. So mine is 1.8. Okay, so let's say I want this to be compiled as 1.6. Okay. Then once this building, probably for this project, still there are some project specific properties. Let's look at it. Yep, this is again 1.8. So look at it. Hey, this diamond operator is not allowed for source level below 1.7. So this is actually introduced in JDK 7. So this diamond operator. So that's the deal with it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I'll go back and change this guy to JDK compliance. Let's leave it 1.7. I don't want 1. Yep. 1.7 is good. 1.8 I don't need it. Okay. Actually, that's some people recently they're asking about this question too. Hey, what are the new language features that are introduced in JDK 7? Maybe if we have time and energy in the end, let's see if we can talk about it, like diamond operator, multiple exception blocks. You can catch multiple exceptions in JDK 7. By the way, in your catch block, you can say catch IO exception or catch file not found exception, and then say catch IO exception, and then catch exception, right? You can say all of them as like this: IO exception. There is a small pipe, and then exception. So you can have a lot of this, and this your variable. So you can catch more than one exceptions in JDK 7. And then there is an auto-closable objects, which you don't need to worry about them, and finally they automatically get closed. And also in your switch case, they accept strings. Earlier, strings are not accepted in your switch case, only characters. So these are all the new language features. They created a separate project called Project Coin as part of JDK 7 and introduced a bunch of small changes to it. And there is a new IO. They call it NIO, file IO. So, etc. Don't worry about it. Oh, enums are introduced in JDK 5. So that's one of the beautiful concepts that was introduced in JDK 5. Thanks, Antenna. So this is another concept that was introduced in JDK 5, enum. Have you all understood what an enum is from my video? It's very, very important concept, and I actually explained it with an example. It's very important, very important. So you typically go and create a lot of enums actually in your projects once you join the projects. Okay. Any other questions? Did you all understand, or man? So okay, Manikanta.
Venkat, I got
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, you said that we can catch multiple catch statements in usually it is even there in 1.5 too. But the thing we do there is that we write the different 2 or 3 catch blocks for each type of exception.
Exactly.
But in 1.7, okay. But in 1.7 we are writing all together at single catch statement. Right?
Exactly. See, look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it. This was never there before JDK 7. Oh yeah, you can catch multiple exceptions. That's there from JDK 1.
Yeah.
So you say catch file not found exception, and then say next catch block catch IO exception, next catch block catch exception. It's there from JDK 1. So
but declaration wise it is somewhat different.
in one catch block, because there is so much boilerplate code, right? You will hear this word boilerplate code, meaning so much unnecessary code that you need to write, okay? To do your job. So to do this one in pre-JDK 7, right? So you write like this: catch file not found exception, and then there is an exception, like a block here, block of code you write, and then catch IO exception, block of code again, and then again catch, like this, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need to do this one. You can, if see, a lot of times we actually write code to satisfy the compiler. Seriously, rather than writing for our business needs, a lot of lines of code we write to satisfy the compiler. That is why we call it boilerplate code. Okay, meaning it's useless code. that you want to write it. If you look at it, out of 100 lines, probably 40 lines you are writing none that are not related to your business. You're actually satisfying your compiler or JVM or something like that, right? So actually, at least one attempt, by Java people to reduce that is this one. See, like this, you can specify in JDK7 and with one block. Less code is better, right?
Yeah.
So that's what was introduced in JDK7. Okay.
Thanks, Shankar.
No problem. Good point. Any other questions? So, Yuri, how are you doing? Oh, Uma, you open up. Okay, you have a question?
Yeah, regarding enum, can you please open the example that you got?
Okay,
That one.
absolutely.
Like,
Which one? Is it fruit?
I think it was weekdays, but fruit is also fine. Anything is fine.
Okay, or state. I don't know, whatever that one is. Okay,
Yeah.
let's say
Yeah.
fruit. Okay, simple.
Okay.
Tell me.
Can you please open the state?
Yeah.
Because it has both state and ID. Another class for this one, right? I mean the main, the implementation part.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Here you are giving it as new state scribe, and within brackets.
Oh, state scribe is actually this class. Okay. Yeah.
Description, yeah. So here instead of Ohio State dot Ohio. Sorry. In new state scribe, and within brackets you will give the input, right? The parameters, the input. So here.
It's a constructor,
Sure,
Uma. I mean, start
I
speaking
want to be very clear.
No, we don't want to say that
graphic
anymore,
example.
right? No, say it constructor. Why do you say it's a? I mean, it's right. We know the terms, right?
Yeah, I understand. See.
I mean, we are not on day one,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
This is your constructor. You call the constructor to instantiate it. Okay.
Yeah. And in the construct, when you started this example, the weekdays, and then you changed to the state, right? So when you said in the input 1, and then you retrieve the day of that week. For example, if you give input 1, and then you retrieve day of the week is Monday.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, after that you changed it to string. My question is, can we still use int and string? Am I clear?
No.
Or no? Okay. Can we use two types of parameters? Sorry, two types of parameters, like int and string.
Where?
Within the constructor, like I'll.
So
give,
we are. So it's your question has got nothing to do with enums. So your question is again back to day one, huh? It's nothing to do with enums, right?
No.
So you tell me. I mean, at this point, I think I'm. You tell me, right?
Okay.
In your constructor, can you take more than one parameters? Is that the question, Uma? Maybe I'm not getting it.
That's not the question. That's not the question.
Okay.
If I give 1, I'll get Monday. If I give 2, I'll get Tuesday.
Okay.
Within in the input, like
okay.
in the constructor.
Okay.
So is it still possible? Because in the enum, you are giving only the string. Or I'm not clear. Maybe I'll get back to you for this question later on. Sorry.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I did not get. I'm sorry. I did not get anything.
No, I was not clear about how to ask at this point of time. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Okay.
I have a
Venkat,
question.
I got another doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. First, let me explain to Uma actually, because I don't want her to feel bad. So, Uma, so I did not get the question though, but if you want me to explain, I can explain maybe one more time about that enum, or if you have anything specific, I can, answer it. But I did not get it genuinely, so or you want me to do that example one more time so that you can ask it.
Yeah, if you could do it like you started with if else statement, right? If it is
But
one and
is that in enums, Uma?
no, it's not in enums. You started with that, but then you changed to then you upgraded it to enum.
Okay.
Let's not waste our time on this. Let's work on the other things, and I'll
Okay.
get back
Yeah.
to you.
Call me. We'll talk.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, Madhavi.
Yeah. So enum is a class, right?
Enum is the class. Yes. I mean, enum is a separate type that, but under the hood is actually a class. Yes.
So can we create enum in any other class, means inside any class?
That's a good point. That's a really good point. So enum is actually a type, meaning like how you have class, interface, okay, and then like similarly you have the types, right, like a class and interface. Similarly you have the enum. Now, can you create this inside? Yes, you can. Actually, a lot of people do like this. It's not uncommon to see this one. Public enum state client, right? State. And then you will see something like Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, like that. It is not common to do that. But again, here, state is not outside within this package, right? So this one,
Yeah.
I was sneezing. So this state enum is inside this class, okay? So if you need to use this guy here, then what you need to do is you need to import com training java core enum state client dot state. That's what happens. This is not an external type. This is actually, embodied inside this class. This is possible if you think the scope of this state is tightly coupled with this particular class. Okay. In fact, a lot of people do this one too. You can define private enum state too. So then this state enum is visible only within the class. It is not visible outside of the class, but you can use, rather than using the strings and other types, you can use this one. So let me spend a couple of minutes to explain about the enums here. Rather than using the strings, okay, I think if you use the state descriptor, right? Okay. Let me take an example here. One more time. Let's take an example here, probably, so that everybody will understand. What example do I take it? Yeah. That itself is good. Yeah. State descriptor. So here, public string, okay, get description, right? Now you give me the state code, okay? Now, see, there's nothing wrong with this method. Everything is good. You are expecting the state code and you will get the state description, right? So if code dot equals Michigan, if it is Michigan, then return the description of Michigan, right? Okay?
Yeah.
So else if code, I think Madhvi, you're getting some background noise.
Sorry.
Yep. So if it is Ohio, return Ohio, right? Else you do something else. Now we only handle two of them, right? So nothing wrong with this method really, if you look at it, except this one. So how many possible state codes can you can have? 50, right? Within the United States, right? So, but the string, if you define the state code as a string, this is exactly how we used to do it before JDK5. But the problem is I can pass any string here, right? So let me state descriptor demo, my public static void main, state descriptor equal to new descriptor, right? Get description, and I can pass UMA. Okay? See, it works perfectly, right? At least at the compile time. Of course, when you get the description, the description will be null, right? It's very reasonable, right? It's a very, very, very reasonable. Nothing wrong with it. Everything is cool. But the description is null. So I was trying to pass UMA because UMA is also a string, right? So I can pass anything here. I can pass money. So you can pass any string as an input here because you defined, you are expecting a string as an input. Any string of characters is a string. Agree, guys? So that's the problem. But you wanted to expect a defined set of strings. MI, OH, IL, DC. You wanted to specify those 50. But once you start putting as a string, you can pass any string and your compiler has no clue about it. Your compiler perfectly says that yes, he's expecting string and money is string. So this is all super. There is no problem with it. So you will have to wait until runtime to fail because you're failing here at runtime because it doesn't match with anyone. That's what you're getting now. But let's say this is a fat fingering. I actually wanted to send it MI, but accidentally I send like this. Okay? Come on, you should be able to help me at the compile time, right? Because we boast that Java compiler is pretty strong. It can find a lot of issues up front so that we don't have to worry about it at runtime and all. It can fix this one because you defined this as a string. That's the problem. And any string of characters is a string, including this guy. But now, since you have this definite state codes, what you do is you define them as enum. Okay? Define them as enum. You can say public enum. So I'll call this as my state. Okay? So here you say Michigan Ohio. Let's say I provided only 2. Okay. Now, I'm not expecting string, but I'm expecting actually you pass me this my state. Okay. My state object. So here, look at it. This my state is an enum. It is also like a class, so you can pass any instance of it. But if you actually talk under the hood, each one of these is actually one instance of, each one of this is actually an instance of this particular class. Okay, so now your compiler is telling you that, hey, sorry, you can't pass any string of characters. You can't pass any string of characters because it is not string anymore. It is rather, I'm expecting an enum. So you have to pass me only of the type my state. Okay? How can I do it? My state dot, see this one? You can only pass my state dot Michigan. You can only pass my state dot Ohio. That's it. You can't send anything else. That is the beauty. So you are preventing me from sending the string like Uma. I can't send it anymore because it is not a string of characters. It is rather a separate class here. Okay? I mean separate type. It's an enum. So you have to pass one of the possible values only. If you try to send anything else, I'm going to catch you at compile time itself. So I don't have to worry about it at runtime. I'm catching you at compile time. I want you to understand that. Get it? Make sense?
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether I can ask this question, but still I have a doubt.
Yeah.
If you go to the other class, the state descriptor, right? State descriptor Java.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So here you are creating for the enum you are giving mi and oh,
Yeah,
right?
this is
because it is a string. So
it's
my
bad.
question is,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Before that, I'm sorry. We did not come back and change this one. Code dot equals. Actually, this one we have to check. I shouldn't be doing this. The actual object, okay, like this. Okay, and then code dot equals my state dot. Fantastic. Yeah. Now you ask.
So instead of string, it's a string, right? MIOH and all is a string, right? So can I also give int over there, like 1, 2?
Oh, that was your question. Absolutely. You can.
Yeah.
You can. You can.
Okay. That was my question.
Yeah.
I missed it. Sorry.
No problem. Tell me some good example. Like your
1 and 2.
ranks, right?
Okay.
Right? Rank. Actually, rank.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's say you can only one second, because this is a variable name, right? It doesn't take the variable name. So you have to use the Java variable, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you really want to use 1 to 4, yeah, what you can do is, I mean, you can't, okay, maybe are you asking the question that can I use 1, 2, 3, 4 as like this?
Yeah.
And I also said yes.
For example, if I want to give, what's that?
No. I also said yes, but these are actually variable names, right? So one of the restrictions that variable has is that here, right, Uma? So string 1 equal to Uma. I can't do this one. You know that, right? because variable cannot start with a number. You can always have like this, okay? Or you can start with an underscore. So variable has certain restrictions in Java, and these are actually variables also. So you can't have 1, 2, 3, 4s, but you can achieve the same thing. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 as your enum constants. These are called enum constants, okay? And now you can have a private constructor also, like how I showed here. Look at it. So these are enum constants, and this is a state code, and this is a description. So this is a state code, and this is a description. So you can have here anything, you can have here anything. It's just that these are variable names. It cannot start with, it's nothing to do with enums. You can absolutely have any numbers. Okay, I wanted to reiterate this point. It has got nothing to do with the enums. It has got nothing to do with the enum constants. It's just that whatever the legal variable name declaration in Java is, you can have all of them. And here it's like any other constructor. You can definitely have integers, you can definitely have doubles, booleans, you can have anything. But as the enum constants, any legal variable name can be taken. Now ask Uma.
Got it. Okay.
You got it, right?
Now I'm clear.
Okay.
Clear.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Actually, without thinking for a second, here, you can, right? But it's a Java legal variable names, actually. So you can't declare a variable with starting from a number. That's just one of the restrictions that Java compiler provides it, right? It can start with a dollar, it can start with underscore, it can start with a character. After that, again, you can have numbers, but it cannot start with a number. But it's nothing to do with enums, though. Yuri, let's talk. Enum is a user-defined type. Yuri?
Yes. I was thinking that enumeration is a kind of more faster implementation like a switch case, because you can switch you can switch number to like string. So in my view, enumeration is a kind of faster way to do it. Maybe I'm kind of like
no. I wanted to say no, because the scope of enum is much more than what you can and cannot do in your switch case. Actually, the scope is much more than switch case, Yuri. But I wanted to say this one. What you get is a type safety. See here, in the state descriptor, we just said it, right? So dsc.get description. I used to be able to pass Yuri here, right? When this guy was taking string, right? There is no type safety. It's called type safety, meaning if I know my type at the compile time, I would have made my decision much better. See here, it's a fat fingering. I wanted to say Wyoming here, but I accidentally wrote Yuri here. But compiler did not help me. Are you getting it?
okay, I see what you're saying.
So if there was a way for me to restrict it, hey, you can only pass these values. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So rather than a string, pass me any instance of this one is what internally saying, or pass me any of the values of this particular type. What is the type here? You are expecting my state. So you can't say my state.ca also, because CA hasn't been defined as an enum constant, right?
Yes.
You can I only allow these two, Michigan and Ohio. That's it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Thank you. Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay. And this is called type safety, meaning it provides extra type safety here, right?
So
So
we cannot.
whatever the problems that we are going to encounter at runtime are brought afferent at the compile time so that we don't have to worry about it at runtime. So this is the mantra, everybody, right? We want to find out the problems sooner than later. As many problems as possible at compile time. Let's not wait until runtime. That's the point. Agree? So one of the important questions and one of the important topics, and people, you will definitely write a lot of enums, when you join the companies, okay? And understand. Also, think of the design. Hey, where can you use an enum? If you go back, for people who are working right now, you go back and think in your companies, right? Hey, where can I use where does enum make sense? Where doesn't enum make sense? So wherever you are having a defined set of rules, or sorry, defined set of constants, right? Like state codes, like fruits, like error codes. Let's say you have only 5 error codes. Of course, you can add tomorrow error codes, but let's say error code. Okay? And for those 5 error codes, okay? Error code 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay? Let's say you have 5 error codes. And you don't want this to be passed as a string, because once you define your type as string, then sky is the limit. He can pass any junk to you, and you need to handle the junk. You don't want to handle the junk at runtime. You want to take help from your compiler. So let's say only 5 error codes. Well, tomorrow when the 6th one comes in, absolutely, just add the 6th one here, and your compiler is going to help you that, hey, you cannot pass me anything but this 6. That is the beauty of it. Are you guys getting it? So you are getting the type safety at compile time. So your compiler is giving you a hand. Okay? Yuri, did you understand that point? Everyone else, did you guys understand? Jyoti, did you watch that video? Somebody has a question? Yeah,
Yes,
Yuri, you have one more question?
No, I don't have any more question yet.
Okay. Yeah, Ketan, go ahead, ask.
Yeah, if you can go to the state descriptor, the class you were showing before, and I was looking at constructor, and in that, not here. I think the state descriptor class, not the before one, the one you created earlier, the first one.
Is this not the one?
Not this. Yeah, this demo, not the demo. Not this one either.
Like that?
I was looking in one of the constructor. You mentioned that, you mentioned that string, and then when you use then the constructor, the string you use with underscore, starting with the underscore in the constructor itself, and I'm like, not this one.
In string, I'm using with the underscores, huh? I didn't get it actually.
Yeah, I will show it. So if you go back to what was the original class.
Maybe somewhere else?
No, it was in the state descriptor. I saw that.
Underscore, huh?
Yeah, if you can show me the state descriptor with like you have declared the enum with the constructor in that one, like Michigan MI, and then in the bracket you have MI Michigan.
I think that's a state scribe. No. Oh. I thought I just saw it. Yeah, here.
Yeah,
Right here.
that's right.
Yep.
See here, when you create a private constructor here, you declare that state code is equal to underscore state code.
Right.
And why we use underscore on that?
It's just it's a convention for private. That's all. There is no meaning for that.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
There is no meaning for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, not required. Okay, I was just going through that and I said, is there a specific requirement? I maybe I
No,
missed that.
no, 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 no. It's just a variable name. You can, come on guys, variable names are variable names. I mean, you can ask me what is this, does it mean any convention? You ask me that way, but no.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure, like if I miss something
got
in
it.
that part,
got
like
it.
but yeah,
A lot of people, I'm just telling you guys, a lot of people do like this. So underscore get. So I've seen this convention like for private methods. If you have a public method and private method, same, right? Let's say a public string get description, but there is an overloaded method. Okay, there is an overloaded method string something, right? I don't know, whatever this one is. So typically what you guys do is, what they do is, if you have a public and private, they typically put an underscore before the method name to exclusively indicate that this is a private, but there is no rule to use it. It's some people convention, that's all. It's not even my convention. It's I happen to use it to say that, hey, some people use it. That's all. I've seen in some projects some people use it, especially 10, 15 years back. Not now. I'm not seeing this underscore convention much now, actually.
yeah,
Probably
okay,
old
yeah.
school.
You get like, okay, is it required? I don't think so.
No, it's probably my old school.
No, thank you, sir. Yep, thank you.
No problem.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. When we create in the class, right? If we want to call the enum, then can we first call class, then enum name, and then constant?
Can you ask that again? Sorry.
Yeah. If we create enum inside any class, and if we call the enum, so first can we call class name, then enum name, and then constant?
Yes, yes, yes. Look at it. This is the class name and then enum name, because it's not a public type actually. This is inside. This is defined inside the class, right? So state descriptor dot my state. Okay. Once you import that, you can say my state dot anything.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
No problem at all. So that's a good discussion on JDK 5. And finally, before I jump into database, so can one of you, Antenna, you have a question?
Yeah, it's about defining constants in the enum.
Absolutely.
What if in the future we want to incorporate other constants? Is there any concern on the extensibility of the constants? Like, for example, you defined here error codes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say at some point there is a requirement for adding additional code, so we just simply add here, or
yes, that's what we do. Yes.
All right.
We simply add here, and then as I told you here, I think somewhere here, so you can use this is why I was saying, I was telling Yuri that, hey, this is not for switch case or anything. The scope is much, much, much more. See here, some people use these enums as factories, much more than that actually. Okay? But one thing I want you to understand here is that each variable here or each enum constant is an instance of this particular class under the hood. Under the hood. You don't see that. Actually, there is no type called enum once that gets compiled. Actually, what you do is, for people who really want to crack this code down, right? What you do is, you create a class like this and you get the dot class file, right? State dot class, you get it, right? So use some decompilers. So there are some decompilers. What they do is they will reverse the byte code. So you have the byte code. From byte code, you will get the corresponding Java class. Okay. Use the decompiler to decode it. Okay. And then you will see that surprisingly that it doesn't define as public enum. It actually defines as public class state, and it actually, these are defined as public static final constants. You know, public static, I'm telling you under the hood. If you don't get it, no worries. Public static final Michigan, public static final. So state Michigan equal to new state of. So you'll actually see under the hood like this. Okay. If you actually open up your compiler, your decompiled code, this is how you will see it. So what I'm saying here is that these Michigan, these Ohio, all of these enum constants are actually the instance variable names of that particular class. I know it's really tricky, really advanced. Don't worry about it. The reason I know is we used to achieve this type safety before JDK5 by defining our constants like this. We used to do this, manually. And then when JDK5 introduced these enums, I was like wondering, hey, let me, I was reading this Effective Java book. Actually, if you read Effective Java, enums, then he talks about this one. These are actually public static final constants of this particular class. So, and then I was decompiling and looking at it. This is exactly how he implemented it in the compiler itself. Compiler is just, facilitating for you. That's out of my interest, so don't worry about if you didn't get it. To declare enum, we have to replace class with enum definition. You mean public class state? Instead of that, you just say public enum state. Yuri, you got it, right?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it. Now, before I know you all watched the JDK 5 new language features video, but I want to confuse everybody with one small point. How many of you understood really reflection concept? Can one of you pick and ask, hey, what's reflection? Who do I pick? Who do I pick? Jyoti, did you watch the video?
No, Venkat.
You did not, okay. That's why you've been silent. Any of you? Who else can I pick? Uma? Okay. That's a good answer actually. To know all the methods and classes. Any other definitions? When would you use reflection? If I ask you this interview question, right? I typically ask when I interview people, I typically ask to see, the depth of knowledge that they have. Hey, Rohit, how would you answer that question? Okay, silence. Anybody? If I want to know whether a specific annotation is there, yes. Actually, it looks like you got more than anyone else, Uma. Let's talk. You unmute yourself. Let's talk. I'll answer you. At least you've been talking, trying. Other people are so silent. So,
yes, I have to still practice how to write the code. But
that's fine. That's fine. Looks like you got the concept, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think with the reflection, I think we can know all the methods in a class.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to know whether a specific type of annotation, like in the example that you said, you created a custom annotation, and then if we want to know whether we have any type of specific annotation, then we can use reflection and then search for that.
Right. Not only that, it's actually reflection is the most powerful topic in the entire Java. Not for, not so much for developers, for us, of course, it's for us also, but actually for the tool developers, right? So all of you people have used JUnit
Yeah, now I
very rigorously, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think, I'll probably take the same example. Where did we write our TDD? Which package is that? We wrote some extensive TDD here.
It's under...
Yeah. Let's say the sentence reverser test, right? So what is JUnit doing here? What is JUnit library doing? It is actually going through this particular class, sentence reverser test, and then it is going through every method that has this test annotation, and then it is running, right? Meaning in the public static void main, it is kicking off your JVM, public static void main, and then executing these 2 lines of code, right? And then again, it's going to this one, doing the same thing. Again, it's going here, doing the same thing. So it is essentially running all these methods in public static void main. I mean, there's one public static void main, and there in the for loop, it's doing it. But how does it know that this method it needs to run? How does it know any of this one? Well, all it's doing is it will look for the methods that have this test annotation. But how does it know? It doesn't even know the class name. It doesn't even know anything. How can it ask? If I know, in this case, I know that sentence reverser test is my class. I'll just say that sentence reverser test equal to new sentence reverser test dot one word input. Your compiler will help you. But you wouldn't know any of that. Well, that's when your reflection comes handy. So reflection API, if you give this particular class as a string, okay, it will give you an instance of this one, and then you ask it, hey, can you give me all the methods? Then it gives you all these methods. And then you can ask, hey, does this have test annotation? Oh, yes. Oh, if so, yes, that is called a test case. That is what I'm interested in it. So JUnit, I can't tell you, much simpler example than this one. JUnit runs all of this based on reflection. Everything. Okay? In fact, for that matter, under the hood, any of the frameworks, your Spring framework uses reflection completely built on, I don't want to say completely, but it's reflection is the major part there. And any of the frameworks like Struts, Hibernate, any of it. Okay? So if you want to build, I'm not saying you want to use it. You can use it without knowing any of this. But if you want to build a tool like JUnit, then you need reflection. Okay? And sometimes you use it. Sometimes you use it. Actually, later we'll probably look at it. I'll tell you, keep those couple of points in your head, and then once we talk about servlet container. Yeah.
Is it like injecting the properties of object reflection in the sense?
No.
In simple manner?
No. So no. You have a class at runtime. You don't know about that class at compile time. Okay? So somebody gave you this class. Okay? So somebody gave you this class in a string. Okay? String class are okay? java.util.date, right? So tell me, is this a date? Is this a date class? What is this one here? It is a string, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I can give Manikanta also here, right?
Yeah.
But somebody gave me java.util.date. So now, can you do, what happens if I do my class dot? What methods are these? These are all the methods of what class? Tell me.
Micah.
These are all the
So,
methods of your date
if
or
it-
your, these are all the methods of what? What is the type of my class, buddy? What is the type of my class? String, right? So these are
string.
all the methods of your string, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You have no clue about this guy, right?
Yeah.
Because this is actually a character of string of characters, right? You have no clue. So if somebody gives you a class like this, like a string, okay, how would you find out? How can you instantiate your date and do something on it? Or how can you find out all the methods of this date? How can you find out what are all the annotations that it has? How can you find out what are all the constructors that it has? That is, so you don't know anything at the compile time, because this can be anything. You know what I'm saying? Are you getting it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about it. That is when you will use your, that's when you will use reflection. So you'll do something like class dot for name, okay? And now you can give the appropriate class. And now it's actually loading this class. Okay, I don't care about it. So it gives you class, okay, like that. And in fact, if you want to use generics, you can use this question mark so that your this one. But don't worry about the question mark. That's not my point. That's related to generics. So now, so you got handle to the class. Get declared methods. See this one? Get declared annotations. So it tells you, it gives you all the annotations, and it gives you all the constructors. It gives you all the fields, meaning instance variables. It gives you all the methods. So now you got the method array. So there is a class called method. Do you guys know that? java.lang.reflect. Okay. There is a class called field. There is a class called constructor. There is a class called class. These are all reflections. So this is how you get the method names of this. Now you can ignore that, right? Because you're directly passing this guy. Okay. Now these are all the method names of whatever the whatever the class that you gave in your double quotes. Okay. Method dot get name. So these are all the methods that are defined in java.util.date. Equals toString, hashcode, clone, compare to, read object, write object, get date, get time, get minutes, get month, convert to abbreviation, get millisaf, get time impl, set date, set hours, set minutes, set months, set seconds. These are all these methods that are available here. So how do you think your JUnit knows all the test methods? So where is your sentence reverser class? Here, right? Sorry, sentence reverser test. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 test cases, right? What happens here like this? Public void, ignore me. Okay? I wrote a method like this. So how does JUnit know that this is not a test case? The contract between you and JUnit is that every method that has this test annotation is considered a test case. But how does it know? How can it read it? I mean, you can read it because you have eyes and you have, in front of you have Eclipse and all that stuff, right? But if I give you this class, okay, string reverser test, okay, what is the fully qualified name of string reverser test? .tdd string reversers, sentence reverser test. This is my fully qualified name, right? And this is my class now. And let's look at all the declared methods of this particular class. See, these are all the ones. You have a setup method, you have a one word input should return the same, this one, and you have this method called sentence with 2 words should be reversed. You have this one, you have this one. It gave me all the methods. Getting it? And now for each method, you can get all the annotations that are declared on top of the methods. There is on the method, there is a method called get declared annotations, meaning, hey, give me all the annotations that are declared on the method. Okay. Now you got all the annotations, right? So there is a class called annotation. These are all the annotations. So now you go through all the annotations of that method, if there are any. Annotation dot get annotation type. See, you have a name setup. On this one, you have an annotation of the type before. You have this name, this method name. One word input should return the same word, and it has the annotation of test. It has the other method has annotation of test, but ignore me does not have any annotations. This is how building a tool like JUnit, the basic version of JUnit, for you to build it, it doesn't take more than 2-3 hours actually, using reflection. This is how you use reflection. This is the power of reflections, the most powerful tool that Java has provided to you. Using this powerful technique only, all these tools have been built. Like JUnit, Struts, Spring, Hibernate, any of these frameworks, they're all actually reflectively, they access the, even you can access the private variables also. Using reflection, you can actually access the private variables also. So reflection is the most powerful technique. Okay? So it's possible. You should be able to do it. If I give you a class at runtime, see this one? I just gave this class and then it gave all the methods. Now I'll take a different class like a fibnop key number test. So I don't have to do anything. Just replace that guy, and now you got these methods. You got the setup, you got the before, you got the numbers, you got the test. See that? I mean, this is annotation though. So on setup you have a before, on this one you have a test annotation. right? Actually, this is there in the video that I asked you to watch it. We actually built our own JUnit like framework, if I'm not wrong, right? We did something like this. Actually, we have not taken this annotation. We actually built our own annotation called my annotation or something like that. Okay, and then we using reflection we read it. If I remember it correctly, customer test. Thanks, Uma. So we built our own JUnit framework. You know, our unit testing framework doesn't look for at test, but it look for at custom test or something like that. Of course, we built this annotation first of all, and then we are reading from it. So if I ask you, a couple of you, and say that, hey, can you build JUnit from the scratch? Can you build your own unit testing? I mean, let's keep it simple, right? It doesn't have to be that fancy with the reporting and all that stuff. I think you should be able to build it. It may take 3-4 hours. That's all. Make sense? Do we have to import anything to use reflection? That's a very good question. Where is my reflection test? Yes, these are all the this one is, one second. See, these are all the imports, right? There is a class called annotation that is in java.lang.annotation. This is actually an interface, to be very precise, but there is a class called method that's in java.lang.reflect method. You go to API, right? Go to java.lang.reflect package. See, these are all the interfaces and these are all the classes. So there is a class called field. There is a class called method. Field meaning instance variables. It gives you the instance variables. Okay. Method will give you the methods. Modifiers tell you whether it's private or public or protected, etc. And then proxy is, we'll talk about proxy pattern later. So array will give you that. Constructor will give you all the constructors. Accessible object. Okay. So these are all the types that you use it. Make sense? Oh, this type actually tells you what type of, is it an enum, is it a class, is it an interface, or it tells you the type. Type is a common super interface for all types in Java programming language. Make sense? Okay. I mean, at least I don't have that guilt now that I didn't talk about reflection at all. I just gave, the homework, the video. So, but watch it. It's more. I think it's little more than this because we built our own annotations and then we read it. But this is how typical. I told you, right? In my career beginning, this was the question that I was asked in the interview. So after we talked for some time, they asked, hey, maybe this guy, is good at communication or explaining the things. Let's test his machine skills, coding skills. Then I'll give you a class, and then you tell me, you print all the methods that it has, you print all the constructors that it has, you print all the, what else, fields it has, all of that. You should be able to do it. This is simple reflection. Okay. You guys understood now? Uma, did you understand now better than because you watched the previous one?
Yeah.
It's better now?
Yes, noted. Mm-hmm.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yuri, go speak. You're trying to speak?
No, accidentally.
Oh, okay. No problem. So, Antenna, you're trying to speak?
Yeah, I got it. Just to say, I got it. It's interesting.
It's very interesting, right? So you can
Yeah.
build JUnit this weekend.
Sure.
JUnit.
Sure.
Let's
With
call it.
Uma,
Let's call it
collaborate
JUnit,
session.
antenna unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
I
do
think
that
so.
in the collaborate session.
I think it's pretty. Yeah. I ask everybody to do that. Something simple, right? It's
So
so.
Venkat, for any of the web frameworks or any other framework that we need to, the product developers, I think usually they will define their own implementation of like interfaces and classes and put it in the configuration files, and then we make use of this reflection and can quickly initialize, dynamically initialize these classes and methods.
Precisely. And I can't speak more than that at this point. The reason is when I show you Spring config XML later when we talk about Spring, I'll tell you again, I'll come back and tell you how Spring is leveraging all of this, because everything is defined in an XML file. So how can it read it? It's there in the double quotes, meaning everything is a string there, right? But how does it know all of this? Because of reflection. Everything reflection is a key. So
And even though it is like, for example, string is a final class, using reflection we are able to just go through all the methods, whatever, everything that's defined inside it.
right, but small correction there. Final has got nothing to do with that though. Final means you cannot subclass it. It doesn't mean that you can't read it.
Yep.
You get it?
Yeah.
Reading is different. We are reading the properties of it. We are not subclassing it. Right?
Yeah, correct.
Exactly. You can actually subclass with reflection. I mean, there is a different technique called proxying and all that stuff. So, which is way out of scope of this course. So, anyways, so.
Venkat, I got another doubt in enum.
Yeah,
I'm late.
Okay, yeah, please.
Like how do you typecast in
first,
enum?
before I answer your question, did you watch the video before?
Me?
No,
Venkat.
Oh, then you are not eligible, man. I'm just joking. Okay. Yeah, watch the video next time. Tell me. I'm just joking.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, can we do typecast in enum?
Yeah, tell me.
Can we do typecasting in enum? For example, like we get one data type from the database, and we use another data type in the front end.
Okay.
Again, while while taking the again converting from the front end to back end, like again like the new data type to old data type.
Okay.
So we need to typecast the new one into old one, right? Do you get my point?
But typecasting, I think, is a wrong word there, actually.
Yeah, it's a wrong word.
In that particular context. So typecasting, let's talk about it, right, for a second.
Yep.
So typecasting comes into picture where I'll expect certain type, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So in my method, I expect animal.
Okay.
Okay. In my method, I expect animal. Let's say eat method. So animal. Right. So you can pass any subtype of animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can pass me dog, you can pass me a pug. Pug is actually subclass of dog, and dog is a subclass of animal. So you can pass either children or grandchildren, any of this, right?
Yeah.
And at runtime, I want to know the real type, even though it is an animal for me compilation time, okay? But I wanted to find out the real type at runtime, meaning at that type, then if it is pug, right? So you will use this if a instance of, right? There is an instance of operator, right?
Yeah.
Instance of pug.
Pug.
Then you will say pug p equal to, now you can typecast to a pug, right? Now you can use the specific methods of pug.
Mm-hmm.
This is typecasting here. So you are actually, a lot of people explain typecasting like this. You have a small glass, okay? This particular example, I think I found out from Java article documentation. You have a small glass, okay? And you have a big container here. You have a big jar here. Okay? You have a big jar here. Now, this can take, let's say, 8 ounces. Okay? But this big container can take 1,000 ounces. Okay? So when you are pouring water from here to water or milk, whatever it is, when you pour water from this big one to the small one, it can overflow, right?
Yeah.
But in some cases, you know for a fact that even though this big container, this only has 4 ounces. It's possible, right? I only have this much water. 4 ounces of water. Now, I can definitely pour from this big jar into the smaller one. Because even though this big container, it doesn't mean I know how much it has. It only has 4 ounces, and I'm sure I can take 4 ounces here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you will pour it, but you only know how much this guy really has at runtime, right? You wouldn't know at the compile time because by looking at that, oh my God, this guy may be pouring 1,000 ounces, right?
Yeah.
But actually, if you know for a fact that you can pour all 4 ounces into this one. So this one, let's say, is a big long. Okay? Long can take 64-bit, right? And then let's say there is a byte here. Byte is a small 8-bit data type. Okay? But if you say long L equal to 123, 123 can definitely go into byte. Okay? At that time, you will say byte B equal to, oh sorry, now you typecast L. You see? So even though the type is much bigger one, but you know the actual value and you want to put it into byte here. This B here, right?
Yeah.
So this is typecasting. So you are reducing from the bigger container to the smaller container. This is typecasting. But it has to be typecastable. Meaning, if you have a string, money, no matter what you do, this can't be typecasted to an int or double or whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
Are you in agreement with me?
Yeah.
So
I agree
this
with you.
can't be typecasted. You have to have the typecastable types. So if you cannot typecast at runtime, your JVM will throw an exception called java.lang.classcast exception. The best example is this one. Because you asked, it's a bad package, but let's say, let me look at this car, whether it has, make, model, okay. Let's say, I want to take a car from a different, let's say control flow car. Car 1 equal to new car, right? Similarly, I built 2 cars here, and then I'm adding these cars into Java util list. I'm not using this way. I'm cheating here actually. I'm using JDK4 style. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it is letting me add car 1 and car 2. So I built a container that takes the cars, right?
Yeah.
Are you with me? Now,
Yeah.
I got the container now. I'm trying to read from the container now. So if you look at this guy, container here, okay? If I mouse over this one, if you look at the add method is taking the java.lang.object because I'm not using the JDK5, the generics here, okay? List of something. So I'm using add of java.lang.object, meaning I can pass anything. So any of the subtype of java.lang.object, meaning you can add car, you can add laptop, you can add pen, you can add anything. So I added cars. Okay. Now I'm trying to read from this container now. What do I do? Object obj cars, right? Because the type here is a list of object actually. Okay. Now, if I can, because here object, right? Now, but I know the real type inside this object is actually car. Now, if I do something like a car equal to, now, this is typecasting. I typecast now, right?
Yeah.
But if at all, so this all typecast, everything works fine, right? Everything works fine. I mean, I know I did not print anything. This all fine. Let's say this object will let me typecast to anything. I can typecast to string also, right?
Yeah.
Because string is also subtype of object. But what is the real type that is sitting here? JVM knows only at the runtime. Your compiler lets you do it. Compiler lets you typecast this guy. Okay. Now observe this guy. Now you will get the class cast exception. The reason is, hey, the real type in the OBJ is actually car, and you are trying to typecast into string. It has to be typecastable, meaning you can say race car equal to any of the cars. You can do it here. Okay, so you can typecast this car into anything that car can take it polymorphically. But here, these two types have no relationship. Your COM, Java Venkat training Java, core Java, control flow car, and your java.lang.string. What you have is this one, and what you are trying to typecast is this one. There is no relation at all. You cannot typecast. Getting it?
Yeah.
So you can't pour car into string is what it's saying. You cannot pour like water, right? You can't pour whatever you have at runtime is car. You can't pour car into string, meaning you cannot convert from car to string because they are completely independent. They are two different objects. You can't do it. So, but your compiler, is your compiler helping you to do this one? No, your compiler is letting you do this one. Your compiler, it's a silly, right? It's so stupid that compiler is not able to identify that, hey, sorry, you can't typecast to a string because what you have here actually cars. You added cars. Compiler is not helping you at all. This is how we wrote the code back in JDK 4. Okay, nobody is really writing, nobody is really using this one. So in fact, you will get Eclipse warnings. Look at all of the Eclipse warnings here. Array list is a raw type. Don't use this raw type here. Rather use the generic type, list of car. Okay, and then array list of car. That's it. Now cars.add car1, cars.add car2. This is all fine. And now I don't need to do string here. Object here. I can be very specific here because I know my compiler will help me. Here it's going to slap you. Hey, you're trying to convert from car to string. You cannot do it. Cannot cast from car to string. I don't have to wait until runtime to get this error. Your compiler is helping you. That is the beauty of these generics that they introduced. In fact, this is the typecast. I know you asked something else, but I wanted to make sure you understand really what typecasting means. I also want to make sure everybody gets it also. That is why I gave a very lengthy explanation.
Yeah. My question was like, if suppose I get phones data object from the database, and I created one, and I'll be creating one enum class with the home phone, cell phone, like 3-4 enum types for that, and I project it to the front end. And now again I want to like save all those individual components into like all together into one phones object in the database.
Okay.
So again I need to be again I need to be
exactly
converted into, yeah.
You need to do all of that intelligence in the enum actually. This is how I would do it. Yeah. It's
like is there any specific method for that to be converting that in enum class? That's what my question is.
It's slightly complicated for other people, but see here, cell, home.
Yeah, I face this on that.
Cell phone, home phone, and what else? Fax, let's say, right? So what you do is exactly like how I said the other time. So private constructor here. Okay. So you have one front-end type, one database type, right? So what you do is private string, front-end type. Okay. And private string database type.
Database type.
Okay. So look at it. Okay. So anyways, make sense? Now provide
database type in the second parameter of phone constructor.
Oh, sorry. Now provide getters. Okay. Now what you need to do is for all these enum types, you have to construct your constructor, right? So let's say front end is calling this guy as in your constructor front end type. What is your front end type? You wanted to show nicely front end like that, and then your database is probably saying C. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you following?
Yeah. Okay.
So Your C is the database type for cell, H is the database type for home. How do I know that? Well, the second parameter is the database type. Second parameter.
Yeah.
First parameter is front end type. See here? So your front end will be cell, your front end will be home, your front end will be fax, but your back end for fax is F, back end for home is H, back end for cell is C, right? Now, what you need is, you need to provide two different methods. So what you need is, from database you will get CHF, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I pass C, you have to convert into an enum and give me back. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So what you need to do is, you need to write a utility method like a public phone from database value. Okay? I'll give you the DB value. Now what you do is, phone dot values, you'll get all the phone array, all the enums you'll get it, and then you loop through all the enums. Whatever, my enum or an enum. I know it's slightly off topic. So whenever this matches, because your DB value has to match this one, right? If this guy dot get database type dot equals whatever you passed, if it matched, then you are giving that total enum. When you give the enum, he's getting everything. He's getting the real enum type, he's getting the database type, and he's getting everything. So otherwise you throw an exception, throw new, meaning if he doesn't find it, you say illegal argument exception or something, and say invalid database type provided, database phone type provided. Get it?
Yeah.
That's it. Take this as is and then implement it. So if you have the database type, you are getting the real enum. Now, this is what you needed, right? Again, from front end, when somebody gives you, what you will get is front end value, but what you need is the corresponding database value. For that, you need the whole enum. Get the whole enum. Write one more method from front end, meaning I'll give you a front end value and give me the enum. And now once you get the enum, just say get database type or get front end type. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Sort of, right? You didn't get it fully.
But I understood it. Yeah, I got it clearly.
Okay. Rohit? Yeah, we are talking about, so far we have been talking about Venkat Krishna. People have been asking about, oh, it's echoing. I hear that echo too. I think it's money. So, hey, for people who came late, so far we have been talking about whatever they talked about, the video, we're talking about enums, we're talking about reflection, etc. Okay, so far I wanted to talk about the database, but I didn't get chance so far yet because I've been taking the questions. Okay, and Rohit, I think that's your point too, or I didn't get it maybe. Hey, Leonard, can we run it?
To Venkat Krishna's question.
You have a question?
No, I was just answering to Venkat Krishna's question. He was asking me what were the topics being discussed.
Oh, okay. You were answering for it. Okay, sorry about it.
Yeah. It's okay.
I just got these details.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, Leonard, can we run it? There's nothing to run here actually. What I'm saying is, You can probably our phone demo. What we are saying is you can translate the types from, see here, phone equal to phone dot. Actually, this one can be safely static. This method actually, this should be a static. Phone dot from database value, and I'm giving, let's say, C. Okay. Now I should get the fully loaded phone type, meaning phone enum. Now you can get anything from phone. Front end value equal to, like that. See, you gave C and you got cell and you got the whole phone enum too. You get it? So this is how you typically use it. So enums are very powerful. You can probably, not everybody got it. Yeah, but so here on enum you have a method called values. This gives you all the values, all these values actually, the cell, home, fax. So you will get all of them, and then you can loop through it, and then you can call this one and then find out. Okay, that was a very specific answer, very specific question too, in fact. Okay.
Thanks, Venkat.
No problem. Any other questions? Yeah, Madhavi, you have a question?
Yeah, I have JDK 1.7.0.0. Can I upgrade that? So can I install again, or itself in Eclipse?
Any JDK 7 is fine, so don't worry about it. JDK 7 is totally fine. We are not talking about any JDK 8 anyway, right? We are not
because
using...
when I install the Oracle, then it is giving the problem. You will upgrade the 1.7.51 something. So I just want to know.
I did not know about it, but if Oracle says your JDK 7 is not enough, then we need to upgrade it. Maybe that's the requirement. Let's talk about it.
So, means can we install again? Can we download again, or
yeah,
can we?
Yeah. Okay. Just uninstall everything that you have, though. I highly recommend that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let me show you. I wanted to spend some time. So let me show you. If nobody has any questions, then I want to jump into database concepts. I want to spend at least an hour on database today. So let's take a few minutes break. Yes.
Yeah. Can you explain pattern, matcher, and matches, please?
I can't. Why?
Okay, no problem.
No, why are you asking that specifically?
Because I am preparing for SCJP certification, so
right. I cannot, as I told you, I only talk about the topics that are needed for. I mean, I'm not saying that pattern matcher is not required for real-time job, but considering what I have to cover, I definitely can't talk about it. That's part of the regular expression.
Okay.
You will use it, but you'll have to read from the book itself.
Okay.
Oh. And also the SCJP has slightly, if you look at it, some topics are maybe 60-70% will be same, but the remaining 30%, I think they talk about what is the size of the size of the data types, right? all the way from size of the data types to, okay, including pattern matches also, huh?
Okay, okay.
So, no, I don't know. Actually, SJP, I have taken 5, I think, long back. 5 or maybe even before that. So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, no problem.
If you bring a topic that that's useful for everybody once they join the companies, definitely I don't mind spending an hour on that. But that's one of those topics that we use it probably once in, I don't know, very rare. Okay. So some special use cases. I myself have used it very rarely. And I'm not an expert in regular expressions, I'm telling you. Talk about, yeah, there are a lot of tools for regular expressions, but I think she's talking about the whole concept itself, Jyoti. In fact, there are online.
Yeah, basically like
Go ahead.
basically these regular expressions are widely used in the automation tools to identify the title on the page, like what is the left boundary and right boundary and all those.
Yep. Actually, if you look at the java.lang.string, right, the string split, we have used split method, right? If you look at it, see, it doesn't say space or anything. It actually says regular expression. It takes your regular expression, and based on the regular expression, it will split that string into this one. So you don't have to use space here. If you put space, then it will divide all the strings within that sentence by space. But if you put comma, it will put comma. But these are all small, comma, semicolon, all of this, something that we know very easily. But you can write very complex regular expression here, and it will split all of them. Actually, validators is one of the pieces where we use regular expressions. But sorry, Madhvi, since it's not a generic topic, so I cannot cover.
Okay, no problem.
So let's talk about database, okay? So what is a database? So we all deal with every company that we know of. We deal with data, right? So let's take Amazon as an example. I always take that as an example because they have huge data. Amazon, probably every one of us here, we are all customers to Amazon, right? So they have to maintain all of our information somewhere. They have to maintain our name, first name, last name, the total address, phone numbers, credit card information, everything, right? So they store the whole customer information. Similarly, they sell a lot of products. So all these products information also, they have to store it. They sell iPhones, iPads, they sell computers, they sell books. All of this information also they have to store it. And then each customer may buy, several books. I may have bought 3 books. Okay? So that's called order, right? So they also have to store all the order information. If you go to Amazon and go to my account, my orders screen, and then it will show you all the orders that you have placed in the last 6 months or 1 year. You can actually go back to even 3-4 years also and look at it. So it is, all of this is a data, customer information, order information, item information, all of this is the data. So all of this data is being stored somewhere so that it can be retrieved when we need it. And that is a database. Typically, the database is actually is represented with a cylinder traditionally, and this contains all the data related to customers, related to orders, related to items, everything. Okay? So database is a place or a storage where we all store our data. That's it. It's nothing much, nothing less than that. And there are a lot of database vendors out there. So there are a lot of software products that you can use to store and to retrieve the data. Okay? And one of the most popular database vendors is Oracle. Okay? Oracle company itself has started with the database, and now of course they have a lot of products, but still the biggest product is Oracle database. Okay, we have Oracle database, and IBM is a big player. IBM has a database called DB2. Okay, and Microsoft definitely has Microsoft SQL Server. Microsoft SQL Server, and there are other lot of other databases, Sybase, etc. Okay. So now, what our goal is, we look at this database as an independent component. We actually, in my class, we deal with Oracle database. So we install Oracle database, and then we install something called client. Okay? Oracle client or database client. So in every single organization that you work for, once you join any company, right? This is how typically the architecture of database will be. There is a standard server. Server is nothing but a computer. It's a big machine, a big computer, okay? And now on this big computer, they will install this database software. Let's say this is server. They install this big database software. And now this is where all of you people, let's say you have, 100 employees, thousands of customers, okay? All of you people interact with the database that is installed on some server, mostly Unix or Linux-based servers, but it can be sometimes Windows too. But all these people, they interact with this database. To interact with this database, you need some client software. You need some software on your machine. It is not common, it's exceptionally rare to have this whole database installed on your machines. It is exceptionally rare, probably slim to none. You will not install on your machines once you join any companies. It will be installed somewhere on the server, but there is a client software that's installed on your machine. This client software, there are some, I'll talk about some tools here. There's some tools, okay? And this tool will help you, will be configured to point to this database. So now you can connect to this database, and then you can store the data using this tool. You will type something here, it will be stored here, and then again you will fetch the data. So this is database client softwares. Okay? This is database client softwares, client. So all these client softwares actually help you interact with the database that is actually sitting somewhere else in your network. Ideally, I should have done that too, right? But so I have to have, we all should be connected to one network. I mean, we have internet definitely, but we all should be connected to one network, and I have to install Oracle in one particular server so you all can interact with one server. Since that is not practical, what I am teaching you is you will actually, every one of you will install a database server on your machine itself. So you will have your own database. So you all will be interacting with your own databases. And of course, you have your client software too. So through your client software, you'll be interacting with the database. Okay? That's one thing I'm not able to simulate to the real world database. Once you join the companies, 99.999% of the times you will not install Oracle database on your machines, or any database for that matter. You'll only be installing the client software, and that's client software will help you connect to the remote database that is installed somewhere else. Okay, but the configuration, everything else is very similar. It doesn't matter whether it's on your machine or somewhere on the remote. It's exactly same. So once you install it, or if you want to speak to this remote database, what you need is somehow your computer and this server, they're connected, right? They're all in the same network. Okay? So what you need is, you need the IP address of that machine. You need IP address of that machine. If you don't know what an IP address is, every computer that is connected to internet in the world will be given a unique address or unique number with which your computer will be identified. Okay? It's like your phone number. So like how every person has a different phone number. So if you want to speak to that guy, you need a phone number, right? Similarly, if you want to talk to that machine in the internet, you need an IP address, a unique number. So in your command prompt, you can go to ipconfig, and then it gives you the IP address. But this is like your internal IP address. If you want the real internet IP address, there is a website called What Is My IP, I believe. So this is your public IP address. Where is that? Oh, yeah. See here. This is my public IP address, 76.112.24240.213. It will typically change because I have Comcast Internet. There's something called DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Based on that, they'll actually pull the IP addresses from pool and give each one of them. Anyways, this is a four sections. First section, second, third, and fourth. So each section will have until 255, 255, 255, 255, 255. So that's how globally every computer will have a unique IP address at a point in time. Yeah, this is IPv4. They call it Internet Protocol version 4. There is a newer version called IPv6, meaning they'll have 6 A dot, B dot, C dot, D dot, E dot, F. So because we are running out of all the IP addresses, that's why they came up with this new IPv6 protocol. Whatever that one is, I am not going into any details. In fact, I know very, very little, probably as much as you know, or maybe less than that. Anyways, so to connect to this database, you need IP address, okay? So then you will be able to go to this machine, right? So I'm connected to internet. I'm probably connected to millions of computers. Within the millions of computers, using the IP address, I can go to the specific computer. Now, within this computer, maybe I'm having a lot of services. I have a database service, I have a web server, I have a HTTP server, I have a lot of other servers, telnet. There are a lot of other services, right? So each application or each service will have something unique. Using IP address, you can connect to one machine in the world. Now within that machine, there may be database, there may be application server, there may be web server, a lot more things, right? I want to go to one specific application of it. How do I go? You need something called port number. You need something called port number. Okay? So using the IP address, you can go to the system, and using the port number, you can get to one application within the system. And that's it. Every database will have a separate port number on that machine. And using the IP address and port number, you'll be able to connect to the database. And then, obviously, you need username and password to connect to the database. That's all you need. So when you join a company, you'll be having this client software, database client, and then you will to configure this one, point to a remote database. To be able to talk to that remote database, you need IP address, you need port number, you need username, you need password. That's all. And you need another one. There may be a lot of databases here. You need a database identifier also. Okay, meaning which database are you connecting to? There is an Oracle database, but there may be within that there may be several databases, right? And then that is typically called SID. I think it's called service identifier or something. Oracle SID is what you needed, SID. That's all you need to be able to connect to it, right? So without delay, let's go ahead and install this Oracle database in our machines. And also, let's go ahead and install this database client. And then let's configure this database client to point to this database that is installed on our machines, which is not common once you join the companies. But here for learning, let's do that. Make sense? Any questions? I can take questions. If not, we can look at the installation of it and then configuration, and then we can dive into the little bit of database concepts. So, very good. Now, if you look at it, Java is also product of Oracle. Java was originally from Sun Microsystems, but Sun Microsystems was bought by Oracle. So Oracle database and Java software, both of them are from the same vendor, same company. It's Oracle. Okay? What version of Oracle do we have to install? Let's go there. So go to oracle.com and then click on downloads, and then or mouse over downloads or click on downloads. Okay. So let's go to database here. Okay. And then see all database downloads. Yep, look at it here. database 11G Express Edition. This is what we need. Express Edition. Actually, Enterprise and Standard Editions are the ones that we typically install on, in your new company, in the companies. When you join the companies, right, they will have either Enterprise Edition or Standard Edition, and that's installed on the remote Unix or Linux machine, and you do not worry about installation of that one. Okay. I myself don't know. I never did myself. Okay, so don't worry about it. The reason is we are only users of it. We will have these client softwares and communicate with that using the IP address, port number, username, password, and SID. So we don't have to worry about it. So this is what we need. Oracle Database Express Edition 11G. This Express Edition is a small database for people like us who want to learn database. Okay. And then accept license agreement, and then mine is 64-bit Windows, so I'll obviously click on this one. Oh, I already actually downloaded right before the class. So, but the point is, you need to have Oracle account. Okay, it is free. Go and sign up yourself. Okay, you need to log in. So go ahead and do that. So let's say sign out. Now if you go back here, okay, accept, and then now click on 64-bit. Now it actually takes you to this username and password. Okay, and forgot username, forgot create an account. So click on create an account. It's a simple, you create an Oracle account. Okay. And then use that username and password, and then it will let you download it. Make sense? Unfortunately, I think you can't bypass this point. So that is how you install your, that's how you download your Oracle database. Now, let's go back. Again, click on downloads. And then, now that is a database section, and there is something called developer tools. Look at here. So go to developer tools. This is used for developers, right? So typically, who installs database in your companies? Not us, DBAs. There is a special role. We are Java developers, right? So Java developers have no clue of how to install Oracle on a Unix machine. At least I have no clue. Okay. Typical any Java developer is the same case. There's a special people there called DBAs, database administrators, who are responsible for that. Anyways, but what we do as developers is go to developers tools. Here there is something called SQL developer. The SQL developer is the client tool that I was talking about. Okay. So this is what helps you to connect to the database. These SQL or DB clients. These are the DB clients that I was talking about. And these are the tools that we install typically. When you go to a company, when you join a company, you need to be able to install the SQL developer and then configure it to point to that database. And your lead or DBA will give you all the database details. Hey, what is the IP address? What is the port number, username, password, etc. So we talked about various database vendors, like you have Oracle, IBM DB2, Microsoft SQL Server, etc. From the DB client's perspective, there are a lot of clients also. The most popular clients are, one of the most popular is Toad. Okay, it's a visual tool. Actually, database itself comes with a tool. Okay, it's called SQL Star Plus. So your Oracle comes with its with a separate tool, but that's command prompt. You don't want to really, you don't like it. I mean, it's for old school. Okay, but we always want to look at in a much graphical way, right? So Toad is the best tool, no doubt about it. And Obviously, Oracle SQL Developer. Oracle SQL Developer. And then there are a lot of JDBC based clients. Squirrel, SQL. For some reason, all of them are animal names: toad, squirrel, and then DB Visualizer. And several other tools. You will find probably tens, if not hundreds of tools online. Okay. Anyways, the tool that I'm using is SQL Developer. It is also from Oracle. And then accept. And then look at it here. Windows 64-bit, zip only, includes JDK7. It says it is including JDK7. We don't need this one because we already installed JDK7. Okay? We don't need it. So SQL Developer requires JDK7 or above. We don't need that guy. But what we'll take is Windows 32-bit or 64-bit. It's same for both the machines, both the operating system or machines. Installation notes were download on this one. This one is a 226 MB. This one is 311 MB. We don't need this guy because it comes with JDK7 also. We don't need JDK7. We already have it. So let's get this one. Okay. I already downloaded both of them. And then both of them are zip files. Zip is a compression. It's a compression tool, right? So I came across this tool called 7-Zip. I highly recommend this 7-Zip. It's a nice zipper. It's free, open source. So go to 7zip.org and then download based on your 32-bit or 64-bit OS. I use this one. So now let's go to download section. I downloaded before. So this is Oracle XE. I'll get this one and copy it into my D environment, Java training env. Okay. Now this is a zip file. So 7-zip extract here. Okay, disk 1. And then click on this setup.exe. It asks you whether you want to allow it. Go ahead and allow it. It may take a couple of minutes, but I wanted to install in front of you. That was the intention. Okay, click next. Accept the terms, sure. And then where do you want to install? C Oracle EXE. C Oracle XE, Express Edition. XE stands for Express Edition, Oracle XE. So I want to install it, all the softwares, right, that we do it in Java training environment. Okay. So in Java training, in environment, I'm going to create a folder called Oracle XE, Express Edition. Okay. And now I'll copy this guy and I'll say that, hey, I want you to install it here. Oh, D, yours could be C, Java training environment, Oracle XE. Click next. Enter and confirm passwords for the database. This password will be used for both sys and system database account. There are two default accounts that Oracle comes with it. One is called sys, the other one is called system. These are the highest level of accounts that the DB, these come with every privilege that is required. Okay. Later we'll talk about how to create new users, new schemas, etc. We'll talk about it in a few minutes. Okay. But you can give any password here. Okay. I'm using the default password, meaning traditionally I'm an old guy. 15 years back when I learned, when I was playing with the database, wherever I learned, system's password was manager. So So I use system and manager, sys and manager. This used to be, but you can give any password. It doesn't matter, right? So I just install. I'm just used to it. That's all. So we are installing Oracle Database 11G Express Edition. We can go to downloads and then get the SQL developer also. I'm going to bring the SQL developer also to Java training environment. I'm bringing it here, and it's a zip file too. No JRE, see, because we already have JRE and JDK, so it doesn't have anything. So let me 7-zip, just open archive. Okay, SQL developer. I'll say right click, 7-zip, extract here. I use 7-zip. You don't have to use 7-zip. You can use any of your favorite tools. You can use WinZip or whatever the default that Windows comes with. But 7-zip is a good open source zip zipper that I use it. So now, in Java training environment, we have now SQL developer also. Okay. You just open this exe file. That's all you need to do. Just double click on it, and it is asking you, hey, please specify the path to the Java JDK home. Okay. So we need to specify that is in Java training environment, Java, and this is the home to the JDK, and click OK. Java version 180 has not been certified. Do you only Java version less than 1.8 certified? Continue anyway. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, we are using JDK 8, but SQL developer hasn't been tested on JDK 8 is what it is saying. Yeah, go ahead. That's not a problem. We use some basic stuff. If it hasn't been tested, not a big deal. Okay, you are attempting to run with Java 8. Running this product is supported with a minimum and maximum version. Skip this. This product will not be supported and may not run correctly if you proceed. That's fine. Continue. Okay.
Yeah, the same problem in.
I think that shouldn't be a problem, is what I'm thinking, but would you like to import preferences from a previous SQL developer? No, I don't have anything. Go ahead and run it. So the database, we installed it. It's completed. And then we are running this DB client tool, SQL developer. Oracle, you say is tracking. Yeah, sure. Okay. This is how it looks. Okay, this is not the database. This is actually the front face to the actual database. This is actually your client. Okay. Now your database also already been installed, but first let's go and look at when this database is installed. Okay, it actually installs certain services. So go to your start screen and then click go to the services. It will install the certain services, and go to Oracle. Where is my Oracle here? See this one? Oracle XE, Express Edition, it is running. Oracle TNS Listener is running. TNS Listener is also a piece of software that's coupled with the database. Actually, when you try to connect to the database, what happens is, when you try to connect to the database, you actually, for every one of this one, right? Actually, there is a listener here. This listener will take your request first, and then it will actually forward to the actual database. So listener will be sitting between you and the database here. Okay, so that's also a piece of software that comes with the database, which you don't have to worry about it. Running and running, these two are running. Very good. Now let's go, and then this is your SQL developer. This is your client tool. Now let's go ahead and make a new connection. Click on this plus, new connection. Okay, what's the connection name? Now look at it. Here host name is localhost, meaning this is where you have to give either the IP address or the server name where the actual database server is installed. By saying localhost, you are saying that, hey, database is installed in my local machine. Okay? So, but let's say if it's installed someone else's machine, let's say Rohit's machine and his IP address is, and if we have the firewall setting, everything is taken care, okay? If his machine is the database server for me, see here, this is how I specify this IP address. Since here, it is installed in my machine, it's localhost, and this is a port. Hey, what is the port number for Oracle? Well, in my machine, there are a lot of things. With localhost, I can only go to the computer. But now within the computer, there are several applications. Which one do you want to connect to? Well, I want to connect to 1521 because Oracle by default runs on port number 1521. And then, okay, here, this is good. And now, what is your SID? What is your Oracle ID? Database ID. So by default, Oracle XE does not let you create any new databases. It already comes with one database, and that database name is XE, Express Edition. Okay? Now the connection name, you can use connection name, anything. Let's say my local. Okay? And then what is the username and password? I'll use this master username and password system, and I have used my password, right? Manager. Let's test the connection and see if it's, success, status success, meaning I'm able to connect. I'm able to connect to the database that I just installed. This local connection, this connection name, I'll change it to local connection name. I'll use it local system. The reason I'm saying is I'm also giving my username also, so that later on it will be easy for me. This one you can give anything. You can give any name. Okay, as long as you just say that, hey, I'm pointing to my local database. Okay. Later I may want to point to Rohit's database. Then I'll change it. I'll create one more. Okay. Anyways, go ahead and connect, and then I want to save also. I don't want to come back and put all of this information again. Okay, just say connect. Hey, I'm connected. Without any failures, I'm able to connect. So my JDK issue was not a problem at all. So go here. This is your connection. Now click on this plus, and now it is loading. So when you click on this plus, right, it's actually went to the database. It actually connected to the database. It got all that information from the database, under the hood database, and then it's showing you in a graphical user interface. It's showing you in a nice way. So by default, that system user has a lot of tables. See, these are all the tables. A lot of them are actually DBA level tables that DBAs use it. We don't have to use it. No? Okay. So you installed Oracle database. You installed the client software, which is SQL Developer. So from using SQL Developer, you managed to connect your locally installed Oracle database to the main user, which is system user. Okay. Now using the system user, but we don't want to create our data here. We want to create another. Let me introduce a term here. So within the database, okay, within the database, the way data is stored is, actually there are a lot of database types. Okay, you can store all of this information in file also, and then there is a special database type called file system database. Okay, And then there is another database type called object database, where you can store all of your Java objects as is. But the most popular database is called relational database. This is what we are interested in, relational database. This is what we'll be talking about. So what relational database means is that here the data is related and you will provide relations from one piece of data to other piece of data. So within the database, maybe you are storing, let me show you in Excel how it looks. So maybe this is our goal, okay? I'm taking the same example. We're talking about Amazon, right? In Amazon, all the customers are stored like this. You know, every customer will have an ID, and then let me take some names from this class. Okay, I'll take it. It's not fair to take it alphabetically because same people are. So let me take it from below. So Yuri. So let's say this is a customer ID. Okay, this is his name. Okay, or let's say first name if you want to be specific, last name, and then his address, right? You can say address, city, state, zip code, something. I'm putting all the customer information. I'm dumping all the customer information, right? So Yuri, last name, city, somewhere in Virginia, right? And now to Venkat Krishna, somewhere in Michigan. Okay. His city. Oh, let's say. Okay. So I filled all these details here. So like this, right? So like how we fill all of the customer information in a tabular format, right? So here we have the rows. Each customer will have a row, and then columns. Each column will identify what piece of information are you talking about. This column is city. This column is zip code. This column is address. This column is last name, right? So it is stored in key and value pair format, and that's called table. So in database also, like how you saw it in Excel, it's exactly stored. All the data is stored actually in a tabular format like this. So this is called database table. And you will create table, and obviously with certain columns. Okay, and then you can insert the rows anytime, right? So rows are nothing but for each customer you will have a row there. This is a table for customers, and then you will have another table for their orders, right? Another table for their orders, and each customer, what did they order? So Yuri has bought iPhone, etc. You can get it. So table, I mean, you have a table for customers, you have table for orders, etc. Now, in one database, you may have a lot of projects or a lot of related information. See, all the customers and orders, they're all related, right? They're all related. Here, the same Amazon may have one more. Same Amazon may worry about the shipment. Okay, all the shipment related tables can be here. You know, who are all the shipping carriers that they are dealing with, okay, and their addresses, their phone numbers, their contact details, all of the carriers. Let's say USPS, UPS, FedEx, and several other people that they deal with. Okay. So all of that related information is stored in a separate, all these tables are logically separated, right? This logical group of database tables is called schema. It is called schema. So this is one schema and this is another schema. You will group all of these logical tables and call it a schema. Okay? In Oracle database, when you create a new user, each user will have a separate schema. So you create a new user, okay? And each user will have a separate schema. And now, meaning, the schema is like your packages, all the Java packages, right? So you can have the same name. You can have the customers here. You can have the customer here. So here the customers means the real customers of Amazon. Here the customers meaning the shipping guys, the shipping carriers. Okay? Here the people who are buying the products. It's a logical namespace, like how we always talk about packages in Java, right? So when you create a user, you will have a schema associated with it. You will automatically get it. Within that, you will create now new tables, okay, that deals with all the customers, orders, etc. Now, without delay, let's go ahead and create a user because we wanted to create a customer management system, or for Amazon, what do we call? Order management or Amazon orders. So let me create a new user here, okay? And how do I create a user here? Well, to create any of it, you can give some instructions to the database. Okay, you will write some English-like language that is called SQL, SQL, Structured Query Language. Okay, we'll talk about various types of SQL, DDL, DML, DCL, TCL, etc. So you will use certain syntax here. So syntax to create user is create user. What do we call this schema? What do we call this user who deals with the customers, orders, everything? Anybody? In Amazon context, what is this logical grouping called? Customer, orders, we'll call order management or something, or I don't know, or just Amazon. No suggestions? I'll call Amazon itself. Create user Amazon, and then I'm giving the password here because I logged into the master user, which is system. Sys and system are the master guys. OMS, order management system. I like that actually. OMS. So create user OMS identified by, I'm giving the password, some password. I'm saying OMS itself, right? And then you highlight this guy, and then, or if you have just one line of SQL, you don't even need to highlight, but just execute this guy, a run statement, control enter. Control enter will do it actually. Okay? So user OMS created. So we just created one user OMS. Obviously, as I said, user is associated with the schema. So we got a logical schema created. A schema created, and under that we'll create all of these customer orders, etc. Okay? Now let's go ahead and try to connect to this database using the newly created user. Okay? I'll say connection local OMS. Okay? Can you increase the font size? Let me try that. Definitely. Actually, yeah, I'll definitely do that. But a small tip that I learned recently from these guys is that in your GoToMeeting itself, there is a Zoom feature apparently.
Yeah.
Let me, because all this while we were working on Java and we increased the font size there for the Java code. So is it better? Is it any better, guys? Okay. Now let's go ahead and try to create a new connection. One second. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking or if you don't have any questions. Okay. So new connection, right? Now I'm saying the connection name is OMS local, or local OMS. Meaning I'm saying that, hey, I'm connecting to my database locally and then the schema OMS. What is my username? OMS. What is my password? I think I gave OMS. And now let's test it. Oh, look at it. Status failure, test failed. Oracle 01, these are Oracle numbers, the error codes. User OMS lacks create session privilege. Logon denied. So we created the user, but that user cannot create a session to talk to the database. I mean, for users to interact with it. So you cannot establish a session using that user because he doesn't have a privilege. So let's give a privilege. Who can give the privilege? Our sys or system. These are masterminds, right? These bigger guys. So I'll say grant. This is again as part of our SQL. So grant create session to whatever the user is. In this case, user is OMS, right? Now I'll say control enter. Grant succeeded. We have given create session. We are being very specific here. Create session is one privilege. You can say grant all privileges to OMS. You can do that one also. You can give everything, but let's be selective so that we'll understand what's going on there. Local OMS. Let's test it. Hey, it's success now. Now I want to save it. And then I want to connect it to. Now we are connected here. Okay, so we got a new schema now. Now this one, local OMS. We got a new schema now. So there are no tables. See here, I'm in local OMS connection. This is a system. When I move to the system, I can do anything. I can create new users because this is like a root user. Okay, in Unix. This is like a master guy. So local OMS. Now, how do we create? Did you understand so far what's going on here? Okay. And also, if you need to be able to create table, we need to provide some table space, okay, some space to create table to the newly created user. Okay, how do we grant that? We'll say that, hey, grant. Actually, there is you can specify how much space you can allocate, but I'm giving unlimited. Grant unlimited table space to OMS. Okay, control enter. Yep, grant succeeded. So now he can go ahead and create the tables in this table space. It's a logical space where all these tables are created. Now, how do we create the tables? Well, there is a separate syntax to create the tables. You can actually go here and graphically you can create a new table and you can do it. Oh, the database user has insufficient privileges for the given operation. You can't create a table because we haven't given that permission. System has not given that permission to OMS yet. Now, well, let's say grant create table to OMS. We granted. Okay. Now you can go ahead. Let's go ahead and refresh this guy. And now you can go ahead and create a new table. The database user has insufficient progress. Seriously? We can reconnect. Oh. Something going on. Grant create table to OMS. I thought I granted. Let's look at it to be specific. So yeah, let's try to create the table and then see what's going on there. If we need to specify any other privileges, we can definitely give it. Okay, how do we create the table? Well, obviously to create the table, you need the table name, and also you need to specify every column here, right? So you need to provide the structure. This is the data. Guys, this is the data, but this one is part of the actual structure. So you need to create the structure. So you're saying ID. ID is what type? This is like you're creating a class. These are all instances of it. These are all various objects here, right? Like how created. Now we need to create the structure. So let's create table customer. Okay, and then we'll give the column name and the column type. Okay, I'll call it ID, and then the type is, I'll say integer. Okay, and then first name. Actually, typically the database convention is, in our Java, the convention is first in uppercase, right? Like we do this way, right? This is a camel case. But here, the people, because database existed much earlier than Java. Database has been there for the last good 30 years probably. Okay, but Java came in probably 15 years back, right? So this is the convention that they follow. First underscore name, and then whatever is the data type. So I'll say varchar. This is a database. This is a data type. Okay. Varchar. This is nothing but a string data type. Actually, there are two string data types that Oracle provides to us. One is called varchar. The other one is called varchar2. Let's use varchar2. I'll explain what is the difference between two types a little later, and then specify the size also, because how many characters that maximum a first name can contain. Let's say 20. Okay, and then last name. The data type is varchar2 of 20. This is like string. Varchar2 is nothing but your string, Java string. First name, last name, address. City. Let's say city can only be, no, city can also be 20. Probably address should be more, maybe good 50 characters. City, state. State, let's put only the codes here, okay? The descriptions we'll put it in enum or separate database table or somewhere, okay? We'll put only 2. Actually, the good data type for this one is varchar. I'll tell you why later, probably. We didn't talk about the difference between this one and this one, but leave it. Zip code. Zip also makes sense to put the regular database, regular data type. Anyway, so we created the table now. Very cool. Table customer created. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is char of 2 is better here. Even this, for this also, oops, zip is supposed to be 5, right? not really 20, right? So how do I delete the table? First of all, let me show you, as what happened actually here. See here, there is a table created, and now you can look at an ID, number of 30, 80, that's the default size of number. Varchar2, last name, Varchar2. Zip code 20, that's bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and two ways to modify this one. You can also modify it. But first of all, I'll tell you how to delete it. Deleting is nothing but the drop table customer. Now it's gone. See, no more table. Now you can recreate it. You can also alter it. We'll talk about it. Alter table. So we are saying varchar2. Actually, for these guys, right? State and zip, it doesn't make sense to create varchar2. The reason is that there are two data types that I was talking about, right? Varchar and varchar2. Oops. Oh, because of my resolution change. Okay. Anyways, the difference between varchar and varchar2 is that if you define a column with varchar of 100, okay, it will allocate all 100 bytes, and then even if you don't use it, okay, let's say I have stored Venkat, V-N-K-A-T, only 6 characters. The remaining 94 characters will be blank. Okay, that's varchar. But varchar2 is actually, it allocates the memory dynamically. So you define varchar2 up to 100, but if you provide only 6 bytes, then it will only use the space for 6 bytes. It will not use for everything. So, and then there is another one for characters. Okay, characters is actually char. So you can use this char data type too. This is nothing but your characters. And if you know the fixed size, absolutely it will not change. You can use that one too. If you look at it, see, this is how it looks. And now, see here, nullable. So all of these can be nullable. Okay, there's something called database constraints. We'll talk about it. Null constraint, unique constraints, primary key, etc. More of that. That's about creating the table. And now, how do we insert the data into this one? Let's look at it. There is a different SQL commands for this one. Insert into customer. Now you have to specify all the values of ID is 1. You have to specify 1 is this guy. See, I'm inserting right now this guy. Okay, 1. First name Yuri, last name something. Okay, address is 123 Main Street. Somewhere in I don't know, one city. State is Maryland or Virginia. Maryland, okay. His state. Zip code is 12345, right? Control Enter. Okay. Oh, VALUES. Yep. One row inserted. Now let's look at it. What would have happened here? See here. See, these are all the columns it is showing. Go to Data tab. It is showing you 1 Yuri something 123 Main Street. Okay. Now, if you want to, this is how you insert. You can insert several people. Okay. Let's insert 3 people here. From bottom, Venkat Krishna. What is this? Last name? Okay, let's say Venkat Krishna. I know his last name is not this, but 456 Novi Street, Novi, Michigan, 54321. Uma, I don't know her last name, so I'm saying 987 Uma Street, right? One row inserted, one row inserted. Very good. Now let's look at it. See here, 3 rows inserted, right? Now we are using this special syntax to interact with the database, right? And this is called, this special language is called structured query language, SQL otherwise, but typically called SQL, structured query language. This is called, oh boy, I'm writing somewhere, but it's going somewhere because of my resolution change. Okay, it's called SQL, right? Structured query language. This one has few types within the SQL. It's a simple English-like language. It's more intuitive than Java probably. Okay, and the SQL has 4 types in it. DDL, data definition language. This is where you specify the definition of the data, the structure, the creating the table, altering the table, removing the table, etc. And then there's another one called data modification language. This is where you will insert the data, you will update the data, you will delete the data, etc. There's one more called DCL, data control language. This is where you specify what kind of grants, what kind of privileges you want to grant, what kind of privileges do you want to revoke, etc. And then there is one more called TCL. This is more related to transaction control language. So we didn't talk about transactions. I'll talk about it later. You know, when to commit, when to roll back, what exactly is a transaction, etc. That's what this talks about it. So anyways, these are all SQLs. Using this structured query language, you can create this table structures, you can drop it, you can insert the data. Now if you want to retrieve it, how do you retrieve it? Well, I'll show you. There is a different type called select. Select star from customer. See it? We have 3 rows here. Select star from customer, right? And now you can specify, you can filter this one using some condition called where condition or where clause. You can say select star from customer where state equal to Michigan. I want people who live in Michigan. Okay, all the students who live in Michigan. Oh, there are 2 people who are in Michigan. Okay, I want people who are not in Michigan. This is not equal to. There's 1 guy. Okay, and where I want people who with the zip code where zip like. Okay, whose zip code start from 1. Hey, there's only 1 guy whose zip code starts from 1. 1 something, percentage meaning 1 and something else, right? And you can put a lot of queries like this. Select star from customer where city equal to or where state equal to Michigan. Okay, then I'll get all the people in Michigan, right? Now I want to provide one more field, and and city equal to Novi. Is one guy now, right? Because there is only one record that is matching this particular query. So you can there are a lot of types actually. We'll talk about it more about the SQL in the next class. So did you get the basic idea, guys? Very good. What happened now? Let me bring back my resolution. Then I can. Okay. Make sense? Everybody? So you want to do the same thing at home? Install Oracle, install your tool, SQL Developer, and then create various tables. Create a lot of tables. This is customer table, right? Go ahead and create order table. Okay? And then we'll talk about constraints, primary key, foreign key, and much more than that. So I'll talk about them in the next class. And then I want to jump into, okay, this is, you're using SQL Developer to connect to database and do all of this magics, right? But how do we use Java? We are all Java people. Tell me how to do it in Java. Tell me how do you connect to this database using Java. Tell me how do I retrieve the data from using Java. Tell me how do I insert some rows into Java. Okay, how do I use Java? That is where JDBC, another API, comes into picture. So this time for this batch, I'm not talking. I'm only talking about the most basics of database. So what I did last time, as I told you, every batch I do something differently. Last time what I did was I actually talked 4 solid classes about the whole database concepts. Okay, so here this is the most comprehensive database that I've ever talked ever since I started teaching. So I talked about not only simple tables and views, but not only these joins, inner join, outer join. Probably I'll talk about that in the next class. That's not the problem. But a lot of database objects like procedures, functions, triggers, packages, all of that stuff. I never talked about it except the last batch. So I always want to reuse it. So it's not required for Java, but a lot of people, a lot of my students previously, before the last batch, they were actually, I realized that they were struggling with a lot of database concepts in interviews. Then I thought, okay, let me fix that once so that even after the course, you can go back and watch this one, and so that you'll be perfect in database before you go for interviews, etc. But I'm not going to talk about it again. I'll talk about whatever is absolute necessary in the next class, okay? And then we'll quickly jump into Java way of connecting JDBC and DAO, okay? And then I can't wait to talk about this one, probably a week from now or so. That's it. I think that's all I have. If you don't have any questions, that's all. Okay, can you please suggest me some online, can you upload today's video? I will absolutely. Give me 3 hours of time because I need to encode that one, right? Can you please suggest some online resources for SQL syntax? Definitely, definitely. I think there is no better course than W3 Schools, in my opinion. W3 Schools SQL. Go here. This is the best. And by the way, SQL is so simple that we can teach our kids also. Any kid should be able to. Java and all, agree, that's little complicated, but SQL, it's so simple that for fun you can start teaching your kids also. I recommend that. It's database concepts and how to retrieve, put it into the database and etc. Okay, this is the best one. And some people, there is a website called Guru 99 or something like that. This is mainly for testing, people use it, but they have, I believe, there's something called SQL. I heard this is again very.
They have everything, almost even SAP, Java.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so many things. Actually, very nice.
Yep. I think I actually heard about them and really good. See, look at it. This is probably one of the best too. Okay, very simple. These are all very simple stuff. Introduction to database design. Okay. Oh, very nice. Excellent. How about, all about null value and keyboard in MySQL. A fool's guide. Good. Basics only. They don't talk about anything in depth. And but if you're looking at all the required stuff, I think you can get it all the required. And Pasha, I think if you watch these 4 videos, probably you'll get, that's good enough. But if you want probably more, maybe you can try here to connect the dots better. But this is more comprehensive. I wanted to say this is more comprehensive. My videos are especially on the backend database side, like procedures, functions, packages, and all. I think this is good enough. Very good enough. Okay. Take care, everybody. Have a nice weekend. Rest of the weekend. Okay, Leonard, let's talk about it. Yeah. So rest of you, have a nice weekend.